the easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first to market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of BLEAV in Bills podcast. We are here to talk some Bills Bengals as we are here for the pregame show for tonight's matchup. I, of course, am just General Rafford. As always, I'm with two legends to my, from what you guys can see, to my right. Got my guy, Coach Mookie Hawkins in the building. What's going on, Mook? How you feeling today, man?
Oh, man, it's a new year, and, man, we setting the tone on Monday night tonight, you know what I mean? So I'm amped up for this one because finally a meaningful game that we're really going to see, where our Bills is at. You know what I mean? How bad do they really want home field advantage? Today is that day.
Absolutely, it is that day. Happy New Year's, guys, of course. And, of course, to the bottom, we got the legendary Hall of Fame candidate, Ruben Brown, in the building, as always. What's going on, Rube? How you feeling today, man?
All good. One love. Happy New Year. And I hope everybody's New Year is starting off like mine, amazing and exciting, filled with some great football to come.
Okay. Happy to hear that you fellas have had a good New Year. Now we can talk some Bills football. Of course, like you mentioned earlier, the Bills are going to be taking on the Bengals tonight and what could be a playoff preview potentially. So the Bengals are still fighting for their division. They have to clinch their division over the Ravens, and there's a possibility that they may not do that. With two losses in the coming weeks, they could, fall to the 6 seed. I think it's the 5 seed. And then obviously they also still have an opportunity to win the first seed, while the Bills, we are fighting for the first seed. We've already clinched the division. If we win out, the first seed is ours. Or if we win this week and a Chiefs loss next week, we also win the first seed. So, but tonight we got to take care of business. We got, a really big opponent in front of us.
Hold on, Justice. Go back for a second. If we lose and the Kansas City Chiefs lose, what happens?
If we lose to the Bengals and the Chiefs lose next week, it depends on what happens with the Bengals.
The Bengals take the number 1 seed.
But if they lose in week 18,
it will be a 2 seed if that's the case. We'll be the 2. Kansas City slides to a 3.
It depends if the Ravens can win the division. If the Ravens win the division, then we still get the number 1 seed because the Bengals would jump down to number 5, and the Ravens would be that second seed. So
we need this win and kind of get the 1 seed, the lock in the 1 seed.
This win in next week, but really, if we win out, we all good, and that's what we expecting of this team. They put themselves in the position, losing 3 games the entire season, and 3 of those games you could arguably argue they shouldn't have lost to begin with. So tonight, like I said, tough matchup. Joe Burrow and the Bengals coming into town. What is the most difficult or problem that the Bengals present to the Buffalo Bills, Ruben?
I think the Bengals are a team that has a little bit of chip on their shoulder. And I don't know that the Bills have played a team like that, or that and at the same time, they're ascending. They're getting better as the season has gone on, and they're feeling their confidence. And, I don't think any of the other teams that the Bills have faced up to now, have been as confident or, about their ability to face the Bills. You can hear that in their comments. And we'll talk about that later, but you can hear that's a secret hidden factor. You know, we could talk all the X's and O's and this guy playing, that playing. Right now, this part of the season is a lot of attitude and what you bring to the game, you know, because everybody knows whether you're going to be good or not. And you've already shown it up to now. Now that extra thing which makes playoff football exciting comes into play. And that's just attitude and momentum. And dangerously, Cincinnati has momentum. Also, the Bills do. Now. So I'll stop there because can go into that more.
What do you think is the biggest problem the Bengals the Bills are faced with when facing the Bengals, Mookie?
Well, I think they are a balanced team. You know, they have a balanced offensive attack with Mixon and Pirine. And then again, you know, we know what they can do out of their receiver core with Boyd and Chase and Higgins and, you know, and now this new guy in Irwin. So, you know, they definitely have the weapons to, you know, cause some problems with for the Bills. So, you know, styles makes fights. My good friend Marcus Best said it best. Styles makes fights, and these are two different type of styles of teams that's definitely going to make one hell of a fight on Monday night.
What about Mookie? What about the challenges of a Jamar Chase? Now, we saw what Justin Jefferson did to this defense. We saw what kid out of the Jets, I'm forgetting his name right now, Garrett Wilson, did to this defense. You know, good receivers tend to have good days against our secondary, especially as it's currently presented. So what do you think a plan for, you know, Frazier and McDermott to go out there and stop a Jamar Chase, a Tyler Boyd, a T. Higgins, you know?
Well, Cincinnati offense, you know, when I watch film on them, they kind of remind me of the 90 Cowboys with Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin, and a lot of that relied on timing. So if the Bills can disrupt that timing, you know, get Joe Burrow to, you know, to go to a second and third progression, pull the ball down, you know, disrupt that timing, then it gives the Bills defensive front an opportunity to, you know, go and sack them. And we know that, you know, their offensive line is dealing with some injuries, and we know they haven't been that great anyway. But it relies on timing. And again, the Bills defense doesn't play aggressive enough to disrupt timing. So that's my biggest concern with the Bills defense. You heard earlier in the week, Tyler Boyd calling the Bills defense basic. So how basic would the Bills play against this Bengals team, knowing that the Bengals understand how basic this defense is? But the element of surprise, can the Bills be aggressive? You saw what Green Bay did with Jefferson yesterday. They was up in this grill. They was pressing him with help over the top. That disrupted timing. The man had one catch the entire day. So we can do that with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at times. That would disrupt the timing. That will be able to, you know, he's going to have to check it down to those backs. And Pirine and Mixon is still dangerous, you know, being the check down guy. But I'd rather live with that than, you know, Joe Burrow taking big chunk passes up the field with chasing those guys. So they got to learn how to disrupt the timing. Tre'Davious should be able to play man for man. This is what you brought Kyer Elam in for, right? He's a press man corner. It's physical, and he can run with the best of them. So let these guys loose. Let your linebackers blitz a little bit, make some plays, help out that defensive front to help disrupt Cincinnati's timing offensively.
And you kind of mentioned it. I mean, you got into it, so we might as well get into it. You talked about, you know, how they talk about, you know, the Bills defense being a little basic, right? And Bengals running back Joe Mixon, you know, had a lot of words for the Buffalo Bills this week. He, you know, he said a few different things, but I kind of got a lot to say about Joe Mixon, or just to ask you guys about Joe Mixon. He has said two things, and I can't really figure out which one is more egregious, but we'll get into it, right? The first thing he said is that the Cincinnati Bengals are the top dogs of the AFC, and anything of importance that happens in the AFC has to run through Cincinnati. Of course, I'm paraphrasing. Cincinnati is not the number 1 seed. They're not even the number 2 seed. how does that work, Mookie? As far as them being the top dog and everything running through Cincinnati, what does he mean by that?
I mean, let's be real. They're the top dog because they're the AFC defending champ. So I get that point, but the way he was saying it, like it goes through here, and you're right, it don't go through Cincinnati right now. Right now, it's going through Buffalo. If Buffalo can maintain this number one seed, it's going to go through Buffalo. In Cincinnati, you're going to have to fight and claw to get to Buffalo, being the AFC defending champ. I get all of that, but you got to amp yourself up to fight sometimes, and I think that's what Joe Mixon was doing. But the Bills got to look at, take that as, some ammo as well. And hey, we not here to kiss your rings neither. It's a new sheriff in town, and we're coming to the jungle to rumble and and maintain this number one seed, point blank period. I mean, you got to bring ass to get ass, baby. And right now, the Bills is that number one team. They have not been getting any respect as a number one seed all season long. And, once the Bills beat Cincinnati, then, I can't wait till the morning for the first takes and the get ups and all these other sports writers that have not been talking about the Bills, now, start to talk about our guys and give them the respect that they properly deserve. And we'll put some respect on the Bills' name after tonight, you know what I mean? Because, hey, the Bills have been the number one seed for, man, quite a while, and I don't think that they're just going to relinquish this thing just because they're in Cincinnati, So, I mean, I think that the Bills are going to put on a show. I think the Bills are going to play. This is the game I'm expecting Ken Dorsey to unleash what he's been trying to unleash all season. This is what he's been holding plays and scheme and stuff like that for. You cannot leave no bullets in the clip. You got to leave that chamber empty. You got to go in your bag, and you got to leave no stone unturned to pull out a victory today by any means at all costs, offensively and defensively. Frazier, you have to mix this thing up. You have to be aggressive at times where they're not expecting you to be aggressive, and catch Cincinnati off guard and just kick their ass.
All right, Ruben, before I ask you about your thoughts on Joe Mixon's comments about them being the top dogs in the AFC, you played for some really, really talented teams, including, early mid-90s Bills teams and, of course, the Super Bowl Chicago Bears. When you take a look at being one of the better teams in the league and you guys having that confidence in the locker room, do you think it behooves you in your experience to kind of put that out into the world and to let everybody know how confident you guys are? Or is that something that you think is best kept in-house?
It's best kept in-house because there's enough machismo in the locker room that you can get off on, telling people how good you are and backing it up within the locker room without putting it on the national stage and putting, you really put pressure on your group now. And there's been smart coaches and good leaders that have figured to challenge their team to step up to the challenge, or knowing it's a big challenge, and try to say insightful things to kind of get an atmosphere of excitement around it. And the one thing I've learned over my years is when an opponent does that, they're doing that to distract me. They're trying to get an edge on me somewhere, make me overly emotional about the game, where I either peak too high or I mess up somewhere in my preparation because I'm thinking about what Joe Mixon said about our team or how good he is and whatnot. The real good teams, and the dangerous thing is, those guys that talk that trash, and you get a silent killer like the Buffalo Bills that just take it in, or just learn from the what would happen in New England. We hate them very, very much so here in Buffalo, but they are very smart when it comes to talking about the opponent, talking about their own confidence, and projecting that out into the public. So I say to what Joe Mixon and players like him do, it's nothing new. I played against John Randall, and he would talk trash. But that trash he talked, some guys he would fall for it and it'll overwhelm them, and then he just destroy them. But the thing that I used against him, and he'll tell you, I didn't say a word. I just looked him dead straight in the eye and lined up every time. And he would be saying everything under the sun to try to get me to, jump off sides, miss the block, anything. Go back, look at our film and see what I did against John Randall every time I played. So that'll let you know that the talking is just that player or that team's strategy in trying to throw you off of your game. And I don't think it'll work with the Bills. It's great bulletin board material for the media and the fans to pick up and be like, oh, he dissed you. That's like being in school and something happened to you and everybody go, woo, and then you think you got to respond, and really you don't respond. You ain't got to respond. You know what I mean? So this is what that is like. You're like, ooh, Joe Mixon just said this about y'all. What y'all gonna do? I'm gonna look at my friend. I'm gonna say, yo, shut the hell up. I got this. I'm riding this chicken. You just hold the wings. You know what I mean? So Joe can say whatever, and everybody can ooh and ah all they want. At the end of the day, it's about the ballers, and we got the ballers in Buffalo.
See, I agree with you, and I was even saying this on one of my podcasts. I think a lot of what people use is typical bulletin board materials like fodder. Mm-hmm. However, he did also say something else that was a little less fodder and a little more of an actual shot. And I genuinely do think this could be bulletin material, where he goes on to say that the Bills have a good defense across the board, they're solid, et cetera, et cetera. But he also talks a little bit about the linebacker core, and he says that they're good, but they're not the Ravens. They're no Ravens, defense. Insinuating that the Ravens are a good linebacking core / defense, and the Bills do not possess one to that degree of talent, right? Saying this in a year where Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano might both respectively be having their best years of their career, comes at an odd time. But Mook, what did you think about that quote in particular?
I was just shocked at how they was just shooting this week. Like, they've been kind of quiet all during the course of the season. And then, the Bills come around and then they just want to talk. And I was going to go to practice Saturday just to reiterate the things that Cincinnati was saying. I said, you know what? Those dudes already know. They didn't heard that stuff. They didn't see the clippings too. They know all of that stuff. And, Ruben said it before we jumped on. That's just really not the Bills' MO. Coach McDermott already talked to them about that, saying, hey, look, we're going to let our talking show on the field. And you're going to see, the Bills talk on the field. Now, Shaq Lawson probably be the only one that's going to be saying something. My man,
Miami, come on, they can't help themselves.
Yeah, I know he going to have something to say about it. I'm about to text him and say, yo, bro, I got a pair of Jordans on, mixing head for the game. He might be down with that. But other than that, everybody else is even killed. They're going to let their play speak for himself because, that's how Coach McDermott and Coach Frazier want those guys to be. They want them even killed. They want them completely locked in. They want them focused on the task at hand. And the task at hand is just, how they always say, it's the biggest game because it's the next game. You know what I mean? They're not going to get too high. They're not going to get too low, but they know what's at stake. And this is something that Coach McDermott has marked on his calendar and on his wish list was home field advantage, because he do understand if you want to get to the Super Bowl, you got to have home field advantage. What's the common denominator in Kansas City getting to the Super Bowl just about every year? Because they had to go through Kansas City. So imagine if that route is through Buffalo. And we know the way this weather is, teams are not prepared to play in these elements. And, that's something that Coach McDermott is really high on. He's not going to say it, but once the Bills actually do, you're going to hear him talk about it. So this is a big game. Coach McDermott understands that. So he wants his guys completely focused and locked in on what they got to do out there.
All right, Rube. You said, keep your mouth shut. You don't worry about what the people are saying. But when somebody's attacking like one of your teammates directly. Does that make you want to play for those guys more? Does that make you want to just ignore it and just go out there and play your game? Or what's your mindset if one of your road dogs is out there getting, their name trashed in the media?
Oh, they just put a mark on themselves. You know what I mean? You talk about my homeboys, you just put a mark on yourself, because I'm gonna come up with something. It's gonna be, you're gonna figure like, yo, these dudes don't play. You know what I mean? And I done rolled into a gang of situations where I've had people dogging, like John Phenom, my left tackle. And, we going to play Miami or something. Everybody like, oh, y'all, you can't block Jason Taylor and all of this crap like that. I said, don't worry, we got something for him. We go out there. Jason, whenever he got something on John over there, he had to work really hard to get it. It won't know, you know what I mean? He in the Hall of Fame for a reason, yeah, but he didn't get it because he faced the Bills every week. Right. You know what I mean? And he didn't want to, because if you talk trash on any one of my crew, we're gonna get you. We're gonna figure out how to get you. There's run plays, we can run over you. I can figure out how to cartel coach to call a play with Big Jamie Nails come pulling around the corner, flatten your ass. You know what I mean? Be like, yo, coach, it's time for that play. Let's do that play so we show this joker, what he ain't all that he talk about. Or we'll figure out a double team that end up in his lap and roll him up. So he'll be like, all right, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I rolled into, I was playing for University of Miami. I mean, not for Miami, against University of Miami. And I'm at Pitt, and, Sap and Ray Lewis and all the kids talking trash, how good they are. We ain't nothing. We came down there. I told our coach, I said, yo, I ain't going out like this. We're going to beat these dudes up. If they're going to win, they're going to win. They're going to be limping home. I said, we got to just powerball their ass all day. And what we did, we lined all our biggest dudes up and just ran straight downhill on them. That year, we was the only offensive team to put up points on them that year. They were shutting everybody down. By the fourth quarter, Sam and Ray Lewis coming up to me like, come on, dog, we all going to the league now. Why you got to be like that? You know what I'm saying? All right. You see what I'm saying? So my dudes won't, national guys like his guys was, but I got them together so my crew can talk trash from here on out. Like, oh yeah, Miami came up, they won, but what happened to them? They'll be like, yeah, y'all was getting with us that day. Yeah. So that's what I would do in this situation with people that talk about your linebackers ain't this, that, and all right. So we're gonna go over here and exploit a couple of your boys and then see how you feel after the game. And then your boy will be coming over to you like, hey man, shut up. Don't be talking about this because they over here kicking my butt. So that's how we would handle that back in the day.
Right. And I mean, you look at the Bills roster room, it's a really tight knit. You can't help but to believe that when those guys see that type of attack against one of their guys, that they're going to step up for them. So we'll see how that go. Absolutely. All right. A little bit of bias here, but this is just me and the way I'm looking at Cincinnati and the way I've looked at Cincinnati the last 2 years. I feel like they have a generational talent at the wide receiver position. I'll give it to you, right? A quarterback that is good. I'm not even ready to call Joe Burrow great yet. I think he's good, really, really good. But when I look at them, I say, all right, they had a relatively easy schedule last year. They rolled that into the playoffs. They got a win on great game plan against the Chiefs, and that was mostly fueled by the defense. It wasn't like Joe Burrow went out there and played a masterful game. They scored like 24 points or something, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. And then, coming off of that, they went to the Super Bowl. They are the defending champs. I'll give them all the credit. However, I still don't think they're a great team. I think they're a good team. And I think good teams beat the bad teams that are put in front of them, which they have done. I also look at the Chiefs and I say, well, the Chiefs is letting teams like the Chargers and the Raiders and the Broncos and the Colts come within, inches of beating them, if not beating them outright in regulation. And I say, well, it doesn't surprise me that a good team went and beat the Chiefs, because the Chiefs allow that to happen on a regular basis, right? So I feel like some of their confidence is a little misguided, especially because they've never had to stand across from 17 or 14 or this current Bills this current Bills team, period. The last time we played the Bengals, they weren't good yet. So they've never had to see us, is what I'm saying. I don't know if they're that good of a team. So I want to ask you guys. I'm gonna start off with you, Mookie. Do you think the Bengals are legitimate Super Bowl contenders again this year?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't think it was a fluke for them making it to the Super Bowl last year. They just one of those teams that got hot at the right time, and that normally happens, what I mean, through a course of a Super Bowl run. Team just finally gel, the chemistry kicks in, the confidence is sky high, they're on the winning streak, the run game is thriving, the defense is kicking ass. Like all of those things have to happen for you to get on, a Super Bowl run, especially when you're a lower seed in the playoffs. And I think that gave them the ultimate confidence. And again, the Rams didn't blow them out in that Super Bowl. If, they ran Kenny Mixon on that 3rd and 1 instead of, a smaller back, Aaron Donald don't easily make that tackle. They maybe keep the sticks moving, and it's a whole different ball game right there. So it wasn't, easy for the Rams to come out victorious. Thank God they had a guy in Von Miller and Aaron Donald to go out and make those plays and close the game out when asked upon. But again, Cincinnati is gelled at the right time. 7-game winning streak. So, here comes the cockiness. Here comes that confidence that, that got them there to begin with. So, they're starting to, feel that way again. And, they understand, what it takes to get there. And, to face a team that a lot has mentioned to be the Super Bowl favorite. Maybe it was a smack in the face to the Bengals for, people to say the Bills was the favorite to start the season off when, they was just fresh off a Super Bowl. So, it's a lot of things that go into play with that. But I think that, it wasn't a fluke for Cincinnati. I think they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender, and this is a good test for the Bills. This is a good test for the Bills to see where they are. I mean, to me, Cincinnati, Kansas City, and the Bills are the top 3 teams in the AFC. And, hey, Josh Allen, go ahead and knock off Joe Burrow. You got to throw him back in the MVP race. I mean, their numbers are just about identical. 4,260 passing yards to Josh Allen, 4,029. 34 touchdown passes to 32. Joe Burrow has 12 picks. Josh Allen has 13 picks. And we all know what Josh brings in the running game. So, there are 2 different style of quarterbacks. And I had to ask Josh, on Wednesday, when it comes down to the Mahomes, the Burrow, the Allen comparison, all the, the MVP chatter, how much of that does he, phase out and, so he can play the game how he plays the game. And, he says a lot, all of it, and I understand Josh. Josh don't care about stats. Josh just wants a W. You know what I mean? Understanding where he come from, he just want to win. I mean, he was at Reedley College. He was at Wyoming. They didn't win as much. But he brought them a winner towards the end of his career. So he understands, what I mean? Yeah, we want to be, we want to have the stats and all that, but the biggest stat at the end of the day is the win. And that's all that Josh care about. So if he throw 3 interceptions again tonight, as long as they get the win, Josh Allen don't care about that. You know what I mean? Because once you win the Super Bowl, nobody going to care about how many interceptions, how many touchdowns you got. Only thing it's going to say is Super Bowl champion. And that's all Josh is covering right now. And, this is the true test tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you take a look at the grace that Patrick Mahomes is given, the Chiefs are given on a regular basis, and it's because they, got over that hill. They beat the Patriots and went to the Super Bowl, etc., and they were able to fulfill that. All right, so I want to ask you a little follow-up question, Mookie. People look at the Chiefs and they look at the Bills, and for the most part, extended, they look at the Ravens and they say these are perennial Super Bowl contenders. Do you think the Bengals are at that level?
Absolutely. You can't. Ravens to me are not Super Bowl contending team until we see Lamar Jackson play again. I mean, we can't put the Ravens as a Super Bowl contender right now. They just lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers last night, so you cannot put you can't put them in that echelon right now until Lamar Jackson get to his old self, just getting back out there on the field. So again, you got to put Cincinnati, Kansas City, the Bills are the big three in the AFC. They are the big dogs, and right now Josh Allen is dealing with the round robin because once he beat Burrow, he already beat Mahomes, and then vice versa. Burrow, if he wins, he beat Allen, he beat Mahomes. So, how is Mahomes so-called the MVP front runner when he hasn't beaten any of these guys? You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I can't put the Ravens. The Ravens are nowhere near in shape form of being a Super Bowl contender at this point. You have to throw Cincinnati in there. I mean, Baltimore got Cincinnati early on in the year, and that's why they have the advantage now. Do they play each other week 18? This solidify whatever?
Don't they?
I think they're the last game of the season. So maybe you see Lamar Jackson come back and play in that game, because if they don't, that's for the division. So, maybe you see Lamar Jackson come back in that game, but Cincinnati destroyed the Ravens with Lamar Jackson last year, back to back. I mean, just ask Jamar Chase that. So, I got to put Cincinnati in. You got to give them their respect. You got to give them their respect. They went to the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. Ravens did not make it. The Bills have been on the cuffs. Kansas City been 2 out of 3. So you can't disregard the fact that Cincinnati has made it there. And like Joe Mixon said, they are on top, but it don't go through Cincinnati right now.
Fair enough. What's your thoughts on the Bengals and their Super Bowl aspirations? I guess I can conceivably see them in the Super Bowl, right? We've seen it already, and it's not like in my wildest imagination that they can make the Super Bowl this year. However, for like the years to come, Ruben, do you think they've built a sustainable foundation to be able to be a Super Bowl contender every year that they step onto the field?
They have the pieces. I mean, and anybody that's building something, they need a quarterback, number one, which they have. They have, talent at the receiver position. They got talent at the running back position. I guess their line issues are probably the only thing that really the question marks, if any, and they're always working on that. Defensively, they seem to be, emerging enough. I mean, the one thing that I'm not sure about this year, how much of this year's team is left over from last year's team that went to the Super Bowl on defense. So once you break that down and see whether that is, at the end of the day, I would say Cincinnati has what it takes to be in this position, which they are the third best team, or some say the second best team in the AFC for some time, because they have the pieces that everyone's looking for in order to build a good team. So I think this won't be the last. It could be a little rivalry building between us and them, especially this year after this season, because look at it this way, guys. This won't be the last time this game right here won't be the last game against Cincinnati. I really think so. I mean, because we're going to beat whoever we beat, and whoever they play, they're going to beat them. I mean, if they play Kansas City, they're going to beat them. And they play Baltimore, they're going to beat them. And whoever we play, we're going to beat them. And then where does that leave? AFC Championship game. So I think about that. And the other thing I think about in regards to tonight is knowing that there's a strong possibility of the Bengals and the Bills meeting again for the championship. We all know the stats. It's really hard to beat a team twice. Very hard to beat a team twice. So what will go into play tonight? How will the game end tonight? We win in what fashion? And are we in shape or learn something from this game that will help us in our final matchup? Because this ain't going to be the final matchup. And part of me is like, do the Bills really want to win this one or just find out how to beat them? You see what I'm saying? Like, we've got to figure out what is it going to take to beat this Cincinnati team consistently, because we ain't gonna beat them. This is like baseball. This is a round robin, like you said. We're gonna face them again. We're gonna have to beat them more. We're gonna have to win the last matchup. So what will we do this game that will teach us how to win the final matchup? And we win, good, but we win coming away saying, oh, we got this now. Or we lose saying, hey, we just figured out exactly what we need to do next time to beat them. So I look at it that way. Like I said, you always want to win every game, but we are in the part of the season where this ain't the last game of the season, and I ain't going to cry if the Bills lose. I want the last game of the season for the Bills to be a win.
Yeah. Only problem with that is if you strategically were to, not win this game, then you run the risk of not, having to go through either Kansas City or potentially even having to go through Cincinnati there. If if Kansas City were to lose next weekend anyway. So, and you don't know if you want to do that. But as far as winning tonight's game, what do you guys think are the keys for the Buffalo Bills to be able to get it done tonight? Offense and defense, what needs to happen for the Bills to come out victorious over the Bengals? I'm going to start with you, Mookie.
Rube, I'll let you go with that one first, big dog.
Right.
So everybody's talking about the Bills' defense and what they're going to have to do against the Bengals. Bills don't need to do anything that do not change your game plan. You are what you are. You've been doing it. We played zone and created turnovers in that system. Let's not change that system up for these guys and give some new, wrinkle that people might be unsure of and miscommunicate. What's been working this season, go at it. We've been using 4-man rushes to try to disrupt the quarterback. Sometimes it's been really good. Some games we struggled in it, but I don't think we need to try and change the defense. Leslie is who he is. We just have to have great play out of our guys, which, let them talk about Milano and Edwards. They ballers. You give them the opportunity within that scheme. They've been producing all year long. I think on the defensive side, I don't think we need to change too much. Maybe a couple of situations, take a few more risk. Yeah. But other than that, don't change the defense. You've been playing top down all year, and it's served you well, and continue to do that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I think you guys have seen the emergence of a Buffalo Bills running game. All right? And when the Buffalo Bills running game, this team is way different than anything that Mixon and the Cincinnati Bengals thought they was going to face. They thought they were going to corner Josh Allen and just force Josh Allen to possibly run or make big throws to Diggs. Now that you can turn around and hand the ball off to one or two of our running backs, and they got designed run plays, what is going to happen when they throw a play action in that joker? Man. So defensively, don't change, because you can play zone all damn day if your offense is over there controlling the rock and running, because then you're putting the pressure on Joe Burrow and the crew to really force throws. And if you try to force throws on our defense, you getting picked. We're going to pick you. You know what I mean? And there's a good chance that our front four could come up with something to get a few pressures, to bully them around, to get things going in coverage, to help the coverage team. Now, our run defense got to shore up and be strong for us so that can be a factor. But our run game on offense and our defense sticking to what has been there, what makes them what they are, that's our formula.
Agreed. But aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. I want to see a much more aggressive team, understanding what's at stake. Home field advantage is at stake tonight. So we're playing for our home field lives right now. So I want to see them be a little bit more aggressive on defense. I want to see them a little bit more aggressive on special teams. But let's not run into the kicker. All right, Cam Lewis, let's not run into the kicker. But I want to see Josh Allen under center, because when Josh Allen is under center, they're unpredictable. You know, you don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to hand that thing off? Is the play action is going to come? Is he going to roll out? And we know Josh is very dangerous and accurate when he rolls out. So, you know, you saw that in the Chicago game when he was under center, how it opened up the passing game because the run game was doing so well when Josh was under center. And it's easier for Josh to, I think, read blitzes when he's under center. Josh is very comfortable being under center. We just don't do it enough. I think it gives us more balance offensively when he's under center, and I think we're much more aggressive offense when Josh is under center. So that's some of the things I want to see, because now, you know, Dawson Knox has been playing well these past 3-4 games. You know, our running game has been playing well the past 2-3 games. So now that's gonna, you know, you're gonna forget about Stephon Diggs and Khalil Shakur and Gabe Davis. Now, when you got that play action, when you stick it out, put it in the belly and pull it out and whip that head around real quick, you know, and now he can work his progressions a little bit more easier that way and find the targets he need to find. And guess what? If he can't find them, then Josh Allen turns into Josh Allen and do him and, you know, run for the necessary yards the defense is giving him. So I just want to see a more balanced attack on offense, a little bit more aggression on defense, especially on third down, because we got to be able to get Burrow and those guys off the field on third down. And that's something that the Bills hang their hat on. They just been struggling as of late. You know why? Because they hasn't been aggressive at the point of attack, you know, playing basic, like Tyler Boyd said, on third down. I mean, they play their ass off on first and second down, the best around. But on third down, for some strange reason, they play soft and off. I do not want to see soft and off on third down today. Now, I know that first quarter, the Bills are going to do some things just to fill Cincinnati out. They're going to give them those base looks. You know, me being a coach, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give you the base. You're going to get my base. So now I'm going to see what have y'all studied on film. Because if y'all can't stop my base, oh shit, y'all ain't gonna know what I got in store for when it's time to make those necessary adjustments. So look for the Bills to, you know, throw the cheese out there to see is Cincinnati's going to nibble on what the Bills have been normally doing. And then come second, third quarter, you know, you'll see those adjustments if those adjustments need to be seen. But, you know, if they can't stop our base, Cincinnati's going to be in for a long day. But I definitely want to see Josh get his ass on the center tonight.
I think we're saying the same thing, Mookie.
Yes, sir.
I've seen a lot of people say, you know, play action. Mookie, you make a great point about, you know, teams can't stop your base. You also said something earlier about how Ken Dorsey has been holding certain things and not wanting to show his hand a little too much. And it kind of leads me, you know, to a place where, like, I'm watching Kansas City, their games, and there's just so much creativity in the offense. There's so many moving parts. You have no idea what's coming. And that's where they get a lot of their production from. Moving parts, guys running across the field, pre-snap, after snap, you know, all sorts of, you know, just movement. And it confuses defenses. And then when I look at the Bills offense, it looks like Josh Allen just draws back the pass and just makes the play. Like, you know, I understand, you know, route concepts and things like that. But for the most part, it seems as though they're depending on Josh extending the play or going above the X's and O's, right, in order for some type of spectacular play at the very least. Do you think that has something to do with what you just said about like, hey, if they can't stop our base, why would I show you what I have? Because if they can't stop Josh Allen just dropping back and passing, then like, why should I even go any deeper? You think that there's any correlation with that?
Me?
Yep.
Of course. Of course, because now I want to see what you studied on film. I'm going to give you what you've been looking at on film. And if you can't stop what you've been looking at on film, then you're going to be in for a long day, because I have a whole plethora of plays that I've been preparing to do against you just in case y'all shut down my base. You know, this is chess. This isn't checkers. You know what I mean? But I'm going to see what have y'all studied on film when regarding my base. And again, you can't stop Josh Allen, you know, base-wise. And I know, you know, we ran this against Chicago. We ran this against Miami. And this is what y'all been studying on film the past 2-3 weeks or whatever. If y'all can't stop that, then there's no reason for me to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm going to keep going at you with this until you stop it. And when you stop it, then that's when I'm going to, you know, hit you with the, you know, the window dressing. And then bam, you know, element surprise. We wide open for the score or the big play, you know. So again, you know, just to look to see that first quarter is going to be a filler, fill themselves out, and just to see, you know, what could they do? What Cincinnati is doing offensively and defensively, and you know they can make those in-game adjustments. And you know that's how I think it's a little bit of Coach McDermott's madness. As you see, as of late, the Bills really they kind of get off the slow starts, you know. But like if you force their hand, they'll just come right out, go right down and score like it's no problem. Like you got to piss the Bills off for them to play to their expectations. This game, I don't want to get into that. Just go and be who you are and dominate from beginning to end. So I don't think that, you know, it's no different. I mean, Josh Allen's going to be who he is. I just don't want them to make it a Josh Allen, Joe Burrow thing. I want them to make this a Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals thing, you know?
Yeah, the Bills are a little weird in a sense where the whole season they've been a one-half team. Doesn't really matter the half. Like, they just like either half they're going to play good and the other one they're not going to play that well. And it's very odd. At the very least, they're going to give you a quarter of mediocre play. So we'll see if they can put together a complete game and what that actually looks like. However, we do have some news. Lyle Collins, the Bengals star tackle, undrafted, but was really a first-round talent coming out. He is gone on IR. Now, Greg Rousseau has been playing very, very good with the Bills, and you know who they have out there on the football field. You get Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips, and stuff like that. I want to ask you, Ruben, when your star left tackle goes out of the game, how does the rest of the unit respond to that? And you know what things can we look for the Bengals to do to try to fix up that, you know, package that up?
Ooh, it's not much you can do. I mean, because as much as you try to slide people to help and banks to chip and this, that, and other, there's no way you can play a game in the NFL where that tackle isn't going to face a guy one-on-one. And you lessen the times that it happens. You do things to distract the defense so they don't get off on that guy. But if you get in a situation where, I mean, let's face it, this game could come down to like a shootout or offensive drive that's needed, then that tackle is going to have to face our guy one-on-one. And this is actually a chance for our defense to shine, because no matter what Cincinnati does to cover up, that's a top-notch left tackle. I mean, you know, I mean, your top tackle go down, like Jonathan Ogden go out of the game, Larry Allen go out of the game. You kind of like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? How they coming now, you know, and we got to hurry up and get the ball. That's the change. The offensive coordinator got to know it, and he's going to try his best. But that ain't going to be able to do it. It's going to simply be, is that left tackle or that tackle? Is it right tackle or left tackle? Am I wrong?
I think he's left tackle.
Left tackle. Is he going to, when he gets those one-on-one opportunities, is he going to give you enough so you can get the ball off? And there's no manner of planning that you really can do to help that. Not listen, let's face it, the only other way is run the ball. And then you're dealing with play action passing and a lot of help for that tackle and a lot of one-on-one time. That stuff is out of the play. Then you got tight end on the line that'll slow the D ends up from pass rush and all of these different things that'll help the tackle. The core, they ain't much you could do. We used to feel bad for guys. We going to play Trace Armstrong and Jacob Taylor and Jerry Ostrowski get moved to right tackle. And we're like, oh, dog. We're going to get there as soon as we can, Jerry. As soon as we finish over here, we coming for you, man. Hold up as long as you can because, we all got our hands full. You know what I mean? So it's a tough thing when you lose a top tackle. That hands down.
How do you think that'll affect the Bills? Or sorry, how you think the Bills are going to be able to attack that tomorrow? Or what should they do to attack it coming from the perspective of an offensive lineman who knows where the weaknesses will lie there?
Hey, Showtime, Greg Rousseau. Let's go be a star. It's your time. I mean, take advantage of the opportunity. The guy that's going in there to replace this tackle definitely isn't, a Pro Bowler yet or may never be. This could be a really great opportunity for him to dominate and really take control. So, which will be needed because if him from that position can get up field and be disruptive, that's all we need. That's all we need. Then you ain't even got to change the defense. Then you're doing what Mookie say. I'm playing you base and I'm beating you. You know what I mean? So Russo could definitely be the key to success this game. He come out there and play like he's been playing all year against, I would say, not a Pro Bowl tackle. He should have a good day. What do you think? What do you think Bruce Smith would be?
Licking his chops right now.
It don't really matter who Bruce will line up across from though.
You putting a rookie on me? How dare you disrespect me?
Right. He'd be very he always found ways to figure out why a team has disrespected him each week.
Yeah. He'll make up a way. Oh, you're gonna put a rookie on me? You disrespected me. But Bruce, they ain't got nobody else. I don't care. Go out and get somebody good to play. That was that dude, man. I love that guy.
Book, Coach Book, you think that Gregory Rousseau is up for the task to come out there and put on the show at prime time versus one of the top seeds in the AFC?
I think so, and this is where we see the ghost of Von Miller, come around. You know what I mean? Here it is. Von Miller was brought in for this moment, for this team, because he played against them in the Super Bowl. So he has some familiarity within Joe Burrow's and Cincinnati offensive scheme. Von Miller knows what Cincinnati does better than any Buffalo Bill, better than Coach McDermott at this point. So he knows what they're going to do as an offense. Von Miller knows what each lineman on that lineman, their strong suits, their weaknesses. He knows that. So he's been really grooming Greg Rousseau. So he's been grooming Greg Rousseau for this moment in particular. So this is where you see the ghost of Von Miller come out in Greg Rousseau tonight. He's going to teach them certain things to look out for, certain tendencies to look out for, and the little things of detail that people don't pay attention to is what gives you those advantages to, like how Ruben's saying, being disruptive enough to where I can still beat you with my base because this guy has done his homework. He had a great teacher to prepare him all week for this moment. And right now he's playing like he got Von Miller in his soul. So if Coach Von Miller ever to come out this week, this would be the week for Coach Von Miller to come out and Greg Rousseau. Shaq Lawson has been playing excellent. He's been playing excellent. AJ Espinoza, he's been playing very good when he's out there in rotation as well. So the emergence of Greg Rousseau, this is the game, like Ruben says. This is where he shines to the point where he's arrived. This is the game where a lot is arriving on Greg Rousseau's shoulders to go out and make plays, especially when you got a guy rookie or whatever, his first time in this type of atmosphere, this type of magnitude that he's not ready for. So it's time for Greg Rousseau to stand up and show out for this Bills defense.
Yeah, I mean, we will definitely see. I like what you said about the ghost of Von Miller. I talked about before the season even started, having a freakish talent like Von Miller, helps you in a lot of different ways, including, having that talent on the field and being able to do some damage, but also to tutor another freakish talent like Gregory Rousseau and, show him how to use that, freakish ability that they both possess and, get the most out of it. So we'll see what happens there. All right, last thing before we get into our kneel down portion. I meant to talk about this a little earlier, but I must have skipped over it or something. But my man Spin in the comment section got me. Something about Joe Mixon. Earlier in the week, not earlier, I think it was last week, I said that Devin Singletary would be a Pro Bowl back if he was just given the opportunity. And I truly believe that. I believe that with, what the ineptitude sometimes that the running game possesses, whether it's the blocking, whether it's the scheme, he's not really given a fair shot. And then also he's just not given a ton of opportunity. None of the seasons he's been here, he's got to split carries with Frank Gore. He has to split carries with Zach Moss. Now he's got to split carries with James Cook. He's never really gotten a chance to be the guy. And he is technically the guy. He's our starting running back. But I mean, the other guys get just as many carries as him. And an interesting stat, Joe Mixon was one of the guys who was brought up when said that Devin Singletary will never be a Pro Bowl back because Joe Mixon is a really good back and he is better than him, right? But so far this season, Devin Singletary has more rushing yards and a better average than Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon has missed 2 games, but even still in missing 2 games, his 39 more carries than Devin Singletary. And Devin Singletary still has more yards on the ground. He has almost 800, which means he could have broken 1,000 if the Bills really, really wanted him to, right?
Yeah.
So when I asked that, when you consider Josh Allen and you consider Devin Singletary and you consider James Cook, who really has the upper hand in the run game here? Like, because people just, if you ask that question on the face, people say, "Oh, Joe Mixon," and just assume it's the Bengals, right? But looking at it a little deeper, Coach, who would you say has the upper hand, from the rushing standpoint today?
I mean, the Bills do. I mean, the Bills is probably the only team in the NFL who's ran for over 100 yards all season long. Yep. One of the top rushing teams in the NFL. When you add Josh Allen's carries, you got to add him in at this point. He's a fixture in the run game. He's been a fixture for at least the past 3 years, and that's what it is. He's a dual threat quarterback. All right, so you have to put that in. He's definitely a threat with his legs. And does that hinder Devin Singletary carries to a point? Yes, it does. But you would like to have a guy at this point of time late in the season with fresh legs. And Devin Singletary definitely has fresh legs. And this is the time where you start to feed the guy. Take the pressure off your quarterback. Get under center and, let him eat. Then play fake. It just run game solves all problems. And this is December. Even though the weather's going to be real nice tonight, but you got to show teams that you're willing to run, that you can run. I was on ESPN radio the other day, and, shout out to my guy, Mo. And he was saying, what's going on with the Bills' struggle to run the game? I said, it's not struggles. I said, they just don't choose to run the ball. And when the Bills do run the ball, they're one of the better teams in the NFL when they do run the ball. I mean, they in that 6-minute drive against Miami was just so easy. And, the best runs we've seen on our run game in a clutch moment, to the point where, damn, Dorsey, you got to run that again. And, it carried over into the Chicago game where those guys, both backs, had over 10 yards of carry. What running tandem in the NFL this year damn near had 10 yards of crack apiece and almost had 100 yards apiece in one game? without Josh Allen running the ball? Nobody, right? So I mean, I don't care who you are. You Chicago or you whoever the Baltimore Ravens. If you can run the ball against any team in the NFL, you can run it against every team in the NFL. It depends on how you attack in the run game. You know, would I want to do it from a zone standpoint or do I want to do it from a power gap? And me and Rube, all of us, we had this discussion 3 weeks ago. And what it's looking like as of late, this Bills team is a power gap team. They've been running more power gap plays up front, and the Bills have been winning like you wouldn't believe. If the Bills ran like this all season, Roger Saffold and Deion Dawkins would be Pro Bowlers, like Ruben said, because they're running the ball. And now in December, they're starting to run that, and that's what's going to keep teams on their toes because they're not going to know what the Bills is going to do if Jones get up under that center. They're going to have to respect that run game. And as of late, you got to respect Devin Singletary and James Cook, because if you don't, they're going to make you pay.
Absolutely. What about you, Rube? How you feel about the Bills' run game and their opportunity tonight?
Their run game is just all about the coordinator, whether he wants to do it or not, or whether he feels the time to do it. The offensive line is designed to run block. They're way better run blockers than they are individual pass blockers. They do okay pass blocking as a unit, but individually they are, adequate. As far as running the ball individually, I think that's their strong suit. And the thing about it is they just haven't been given enough opportunities to block in the run game or block running design plays. They've blocked. Josh has been a big part of the running game, but those are off of when they drop back and he decides to run it, or the design quarterback runs are kind of like draws, so you're pass setting, you're not really run blocking, so our offensive line, our running backs are really capable of being a force and definitely something to be reckoned. And it definitely is a part of the game that the offensive coordinator is going to have to realize. As much as we got Josh Allen that can score with 13 seconds on the clock and this, that, and the other, we need to run the ball so there's no time on the clock when Josh is finished with the ball. Or if we need to, 4-minute drill, y'all know what 4-minute drill is. That's when you got the game won, and all you got to do is run the ball to the first 2-minute mark, and you win the game. Yep. You know what I mean? Or you came out of 2 minute, and you get a first down in order to win the game, and you don't need to, throw the ball to do it. You can line up and find, 3-4 run plays, get the first down, and win. That's what the Bills have to develop to be a championship team. They're good. They can beat a lot of people in a shootout, but can they turn around? No. Will the coordinator give their offensive line and running backs a chance to be a part of the win? Or is he going to decide, no, it's all Josh and you guys just help out?
All right, I guess we'll see what happens. I would love to see a little bit more of the run game, but it also doesn't hurt to see the ball in 17 hands either. So
look at us. Look at us. That great dude at quarterback. He's like, get it at his hands.
Hey, good problems to have. Especially if you're Bills fans from what we're used to. This is definitely a good problem to have. But all right, guys, great show. We're gonna go ahead and get into the kneel down portion of our show, and we're gonna start with a moment with Coach Mookie Hawkins. So let us know what's on your mind today, Coach.
Well, we're going to, talk about put me in the game, Coach. All right, these are some of the players that I want to see become an impact today. James Cook, put me in the game, Coach. In the past couple of games, he's been fired. The way you ran him in Chicago, he's always a trip away from breaking it. I don't think that Cincinnati has a linebacker that can match this guy's speed. In open space, he's just too electric for you not to give him the ball. I would love to see him and Devin Singletary in a 20 personnel with both of them in a shotgun with Josh Allen, and you running one in motion and you doing RPO with the other one. They
Ooh, you
will
get nasty,
lose their
coach.
mind, Cincinnati, if the Bills did that. This is all I'm saying. Be creative with the players that you got, Dorsey, because you got dogs. I would be, man, like I said, I'll be scoring 50 points a game with these guys. But James Cook, he's explosive. I think he's ready. He's ready at the right time. Even if you go on 5 wide and he's spread out wide, do a tunnel screen with this guy. Stop doing it with Singletary. Do it with the more explosive guy. Save Singletary fresh legs to run in between the tackle with your power gap scheme. So I would like to see James Cook. Put me in the game, coach. Another guy that we need to see in the game that's in the game, but we need to see more plays out of him is Taron Johnson. This is a big game for number 7. He's one of the best nickels in the league for a reason. He's going to be matched up against Tyler Boyd and all those guys, but I want to see him be a little bit more aggressive. I want to see little sneaky blitzes, by Taron Johnson, just going in there, helping the run game a little bit and going to make plays on Tyler Boyd. So I want to see an impact out of Taron Johnson. And last but not least, the Blues Brothers. All right. And if you don't know who the Blues Brothers is, they brought the band back together again. And that's Shaq Lawson and that's Jordan Phillips. And you've seen the impact that Jordan Phillips had in that Chicago game when he was able to, break through there and get that big key penalty, because he's 6'6" and he's 340 pounds. He demands a double team, and he has a motor that won't quit. He is dealing with a nagging little shoulder injury, but anything the big fella can give us would definitely help out Ed Oliver, Tim Settle, and Daquan Jones, because they're definitely going to need that, especially up against big running backs of Sam Pirine and Mr. Mixon himself. So the Blues Brothers, Shaq Lawson has been setting the edge very well in the run game, and he's been giving you some pressure coming off that edge on passing downs. So the Blues Brothers, James Cook, Taron Johnson, have at it.
All right, we got some key pieces to what could be not only the future of the team, but the current iteration of the team. Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips could arguably be considered the past. They come back to make contributions to the future or for the present, and then James Cook, who is the future of our organization at the running back position. I would say. There's a slight chance Devin Singletary comes back, but probably not. So be able to make contributions in the present as well. And Taron Johnson, one of the best slots in the league, is our president. So he definitely would like to see him step up a little bit more. And He likes to step up in prime time now. The Ravens pick, the Steelers pick, both in prime time versus tough components. So we might see something special tonight. All right, next up we got Ruben's rundown, of course, with the Hall of Famer Ruben Brown. What's on your mind today, Rube?
Well, in big time situations, big time players come out to play. And this week is really the defense got to show up big time. And I'm looking for our guys over there on the D-line to really come out and be the difference makers in this game at the end of the day. Stop the run and get after the passer. Let all the other skilled players and the little guys be able to get out there and cover and do what they got to do against a really formidable receiving core. But up front is where it's at. On the defense, definitely. Every man, every last defensive lineman, this game is on them. The D-line of the Buffalo Bills will determine the outcome of this game. And given the opportunity over on the other side, which we know if they're given the opportunity, the Buffalo Bills run game would definitely be able to be a major force and factor in a win tonight and going into the future. So I think tonight, get it started with a good, sound running game, be committed to it, and give these offensive linemen the respect they deserve. These guys are awesome run blockers, and we have awesome runners. Let these guys be a part of the team and let them help win the game. Let them give something back to Josh for all the hard work he's done. Let them be a good supporting cast for him. And that they want to do it. They want to show everyone else that they got the skills. I know they got the skills. I watch them. You got to trust me. I know this stuff. So get an offensive line a real honest chance to be a part of this win, and defensive line step up and be the factor and the reason why we win. That's my rundown.
Right.
And my last thing, I'm liking cones now more than rolling myself. I'd much rather use cones.
just then, I got a text from your boy Jordan Poirier. He will play. So if anybody felt that he wasn't going to suit up in this game, the all-pro safety is definitely going to play in this game.
All right, so we need defense. Of course, we could play zone all day with him. You know what I mean? Shoot, come on. D-line, get after him.
You heard it here first. Breaking news from Coach Mookie Hawkins. Jordan Poyer is going to be suiting up for tonight's game. But last but not least, we have a general rule with yours truly. So for me, I want to see Stephon Diggs show us why he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. Now, I do believe he is the most talented wide receiver in the NFL. The best route runner. He's got quick feet. He's quick, fast. However, I don't think he gets a ton of opportunity to show it. I would like to see the game plan go towards him a little bit, and to let him go out there and kind of just flourish. Get him some screens to, keep the defense honest, to get the ball in his hands and get his feet moving a little bit, and that's where double moves come into play. Quick slants and things like that. I just want to see Stephon Diggs come out and put on a show against one of the better teams in the league, and have one of those superstar games, like one of the games that Justin Jefferson had versus us, or really he's had multiple times this year. One of those superstar games that you'll see a Jamar Chase put on, you'll see a Devontae Adams put on, and not to say that he hasn't done it, but I want to see tonight be one of those games where he just goes off a $168. And and gets a couple tutties and get the win and talk his ish. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to see tonight. Stephon Diggs, second best player on our team for all intents and purposes. So I would like to see him go out there and be able to shine and get some get a lot of opportunity to shine. And I think if that happens, the Bills get a W tonight. I don't. Again, I think it. Maybe I'm just watching wrong, or maybe I'm simplifying it a little bit. But I think if the Bills can stop Jamar Chase, we're fine. We're Gucci, because the offense is going to put up points, especially if Stephon Diggs goes off. It's kind of like the Vikings to me, to a degree. Like, I feel like their wide receiver, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, respectively, is at least 40% of the offense. Most of the offense runs through them. If the quarterback, can't find anybody, can't do something, they just looking for their best receiver. And more times than not, they've come down with it. So I truly believe if we can stop Jamar Chase, then we're going to be fine. So we'll see what happens with that. But we want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight to BLEAV in Bills podcast. Of course, pregame show for the Bills versus Bengals tonight. Catch them at 8:30. Monday Night Football, ESPN. Y'all already know the deal. Y'all know what's going on. So make sure you guys tune into that, and check back for us after, tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, and we'll give you guys a breakdown of what happened. So make sure you guys tune back in. But I'm going to let Coach send us out right now.
I know my guy Ruben into predictions, but I'm going to say Bills 31, Bengals 27. Bengals 7-game win streak ends. Bills continue on their 7-game winning streak. Now, the only thing I got to say is, do you believe? Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online